We are live. Hello everyone and welcome back. Thanks for joining us. This is Team Banished TV. Today we're going to be going over some exclusive looks at our favorite match from that Starbrawl series. Now, do you want to go ahead and take it away and tell us what we're looking at?
Yeah, we're looking at a PVT between AxiomCrank and ROOT.MaSa on King Sejong Station. It's a really exciting game because Crank opens very greedy and Masa plays very aggressive. So it makes for a very exciting match, very back and forth. So if you guys haven't seen it, the VODs are on our page at twitchtv.teambanished. We're going to go ahead and jump in there right quick for you. See you there.
Alright, let's go ahead and bring this game up. Now in the top left, we're actually going to have, I believe, when it loads up, top left is going to be our Protoss Crank. Now that's going to be AxiomCrank. Do you want to go ahead and introduce the bottom right player there?
Of course. In the bottom right, we have the red Terran from Root Gaming. It's Masa.
Perfect. Now, just to kind of give you guys a brief overview of what happens the first couple minutes, we are going to see Crank go into a gateway expand. And what was it that Masa did?
It looks like Masa, if we just fast forward here a little bit, he decides to go for a CC first, and then he goes for a quick 2 barracks, which should be coming down right now. Actually, there's the first barracks, and then the second barracks starts very shortly after that.
Perfect. Right. Now in this series, we are looking to highlight the big plays that we see happening. So in the beginning, this is kind of just something we're going to fast forward through. I believe our first big event is going to happen here, let's say in the next minute. Let's go ahead and fast forward to it. And it's about the 5-minute and 10-second mark. Alright, now we do see ROOT.MaSa putting down a factory in the left. This is a proxy factory. How do you feel about this, more or less?
I have seen this game, so if you guys haven't seen it, go and watch the VODs. ROOT.MaSa does a really cool proxy tank attack that he uses to keep these minerals and this gas from being mined from Crank. It's a really cool play. He uses the factory for vision. So let's go ahead and just fast forward a little bit so we can get to the spot that we're trying to highlight here.
Yeah, it's going to be about the 8-minute and 10-second mark. I do just love this. I wish that our players in the lower leagues would do stuff like this. Okay, so he kind of pokes around here and takes out a couple of these stalkers, but really we're looking for that 8-minute and 10-second mark.
So right here at about 8 minutes and 10 seconds, ROOT.MaSa sets up this little engagement here, but at the same time, Crank battles that by taking his own third. So even though this is a really cool play out of Masa, and Crank is trying to fight this off with this pylon down here at the south, Crank has kind of counteracted that with his quick third. So that's definitely going to put Crank in a better position.
Yeah, I love this play. I just love how creative it is. Now we're seeing at this 9:20-second mark, we're going to see Crank really kind of counter this act. He's going to warp in a bunch of zealots from this proxy pylon, and he's going to be able to take that out.
Alright, so as you can see here, Crank comes in with the zealots and the stalkers and cleaves through this tank, and all these marines...
Oh, they're just going down. They are just going down. Okay, now, I do want to fast forward a little bit, but please, let's go ahead and focus on this this factory here. One thing I do remember from the game, which is very important, is this factory gives Masa the information he needs about that third gun.
He also sees the Robo Bay out of Crank, so it gives ROOT.MaSa an idea of what Crank's up to. Crank is known to play Blink, Stalker, Colossus, and it looks like we're going to go ahead and fast forward here to about the 14-minute mark when we really have our next engagement that we want to highlight.
Okay, so as we were saying, we're going to fast forward a little bit to about the 14-minute mark. We're going to see some minor pushes back and forth in the meantime. Nothing crazy. They're just both just sitting back and macroing up while Masa catches up on the third base. Now, go ahead and let's fast forward a little bit faster to that 14-minute mark when we're going to see our next big power play.
A really awesome game if you guys haven't gotten a chance to go check out the VODs. Let's go ahead and slow it down for this really cool engagement that's about to happen. Something that I felt ROOT.MaSa, it's a little crafty, it's a little risky, but he goes for this drop here at about 14 minutes and drops into the natural expansion. Yeah,
he comes through very quickly to clean this up, but I really like how he transitions next. Can we go ahead and fast forward to that next big spot around 14:30 or so? We're going to see what he actually does with these units here. Oh my goodness. So it doesn't seem like he's doing much setting up, but he actually knows where to pick off the smallest of targets. More about. How do you feel about this?
This building placement out of Crank is not the greatest. Crank is an amazing player, don't get me wrong, but please, if you build your buildings here, they're going to get picked off, especially if you're playing a Terran that's dropping a lot. I felt like maybe it's better to keep your buildings more in a central location, further away from the edges.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this also goes to show how MaSa is just continuously searching for even the smallest targets to pick them apart.
If MaSa can find an advantage, he's going to find one. And right now, he just continues to pick up this army.
Now, I'd also want to say, let's go ahead and fast forward to our next big moment. Now, Crank is actually going to take, I think he's going to take a playbook right from MaSa's playbook here. Around the, let's say 1620 mark, we're going to see a quite a good split engagement on both sides of the map.
There is a lone war prism over here on the right side, so Crank's going to use that, and the engagement next here is kind of a little warping in the back and an engagement at the front here.
Yeah, this is perfect. Now, MaSa has his army split up into two positions outside the front of Crank and also to the left, just taking out this gas. My favorite way is just how Crank responds to this. Go ahead and take this one.
Crank comes in with his army and fights it away, but at the same time warps Zealots in the main of MaSa and starts targeting down the upgrades for ROOT.MaSa.
That is just perfect. That is perfect. Now, unfortunately, we do see here the power of repairs, even though it's focus fired by the Zealots. Now, at this point in the stage in the game, they're going to sit back a little bit, and we're going to see just some minor poking back and forth, not really any major army losses after this point. Let's go ahead and take it away after this battle and fast forward to our next big moment. It's going to be about 20 to 10 seconds. As we see here, both players are just going to be macroing up after this little engagement. Kind of fast forward here, and while both players macro up, can we go ahead and get a pause on this real quick? I kind of just want to take a look at how both players' bases are going at the approximately halfway through the game. I'll go ahead and explain here. Now, MaSa, if we look through his base, he has a couple barracks up and a couple starports, but he basically built no other factory. He's going no factory tech, but he does have his third, and I love the way that he has that walled off. Do you want to go ahead and explain how Crank's doing in the game right now?
Crank actually is taking his fourth right now. It's about halfway complete. He has his third over here pretty well saturated. His main's running out of minerals. He's getting his double upgrades. And he has Storm already completed. Yeah,
we look at that unit tab and we see those 4 Archons now complete, which he added to his army just recently, actually. Whenever you want to continue the playback, you can go right ahead. Okay, so now as we're saying, our next play is about at the 2010 mark. We're going to go ahead and, once we get there, we'll be sure to highlight the big MaSa push.
Cool little pokes out of MaSa. He's always trying to take advantages where he can.
Now here's the great part. While he was pushing, as you were saying, Morbox, he also comes in here and cancels the fourth, and I know he's going to make a beeline straight for that third.
At the same time, though, Crank warps in Zealots in the main, so it's a very clever play out of Crank to do that, and at the same time, they're kind of microing all over the map. And while that's happening...
Here comes the big push at the third. MaSa goes in there and he focus fires with his units at that third, tearing it down. I don't know about you, but at this point, I'd feel pretty rocky as a pro-top player just kind of getting picked apart.
MaSa wasn't really trying to engage too much over here, pretty much just a distraction so that he could take out the third. At this point, ROOT.MaSa, we kind of felt like he had kind of won the game when he took out the third at that point. Let's go and get the production tab back up there for you guys.
Yeah, not much going on the production side about Crank, but if we notice here at the 2120 mark, Crank's feeling actually pretty good after that engagement. He's going to come in here with that Archon support, with that Zealot support, and push in. Oh, man.
ROOT.MaSa at this point just didn't have the composition needed to deal with this. If we take a look at his army here, he didn't have Ghosts yet, and I think it was pretty close around this time he starts his Ghost Academy. I don't believe I've seen him put it down yet. No, not yet. So at this moment, Crank is pretty much dominating, and while ROOT.MaSa tries to pull Crank out of position.
Yeah, after this engagement right here, we're not going to see much happen on MaSa. You know, it was really just a matter of, as you were saying, it was a matter of composition at the end here. You know, those Colossus, those Archons were just tearing through MaSa. Now, MaSa not to be undone, he does have a final stand. Let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit to that. That's going to be at the 26:15 mark. At this point, both players are just going to kind of build up their armies. Crank definitely feeling a lot more sturdy here.
Good EMPs, but I just feel like the ghosts were too late out of MaSa. They came at the exact time where I feel in the last engagement, if he would have had the ghosts, it would have held a lot better and maybe this infight wouldn't have went so much in Crank's favor.
Yeah, I agree. If in the first fight you could have picked off those 4 Archons that were chasing, like you were saying, that would have been a really good snipe, preventing them in the battle later on. But really, as we're seeing here, MaSa just cannot get up the army to really begin.
So from this point on, Crank pretty much just macros up and continues to build units while taking what is now his 5th base.
Yep, and we're going to see the final battle commence here in just a few moments.
We were really surprised to see that MaSa continued to keep his production up and was able to battle Crank off. I'm not sure if maybe Crank was just trying to play a little bit more safe. We felt this game was a little bit more back and forth, and that's why we picked it today for today's exclusive.
Honestly, for many moments there, I didn't know who was going to win. Those split pushes by MaSa were just so good, but since Crank went greedy early and he was just able to eke out some good defenses, that's what ends it for him. Yeah, that final battle at about the 26-15 mark coming right up here. Now here it is.
We're going to go ahead and see MaSa's view here. As the army comes down, we're going to slow it down for you guys so that you guys can see.
Oh, man. Oh, and he's just getting crushed. Just getting simply crushed. GG. That was a well-played game by both players.
As you guys can see, MaSa was playing almost godlike for a while, and it was just such a great game, and we definitely wanted to highlight it for you guys so that you guys can see. Starbrawl #1, Crank, untouchable. He's the current champion. So if you guys want to go on Twitter and congratulate him, or even go back and watch the VODs, all that links are below. We got a little image here over on the right side. Go over here and click the YouTube link, or just surf to Team Banished TV at YouTube. We have lots of content coming your way. We have another Starbrawl with Hinderlisk. So it should be Hinderless versus it's to be decided at the moment. We're still checking with Crank to make sure his schedule's all right. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Any final words, Tipo?
Basically, I just want to say, guys, come on. We really appreciate any support that you have, supporting us, supporting the scene. We are driven to bring you guys more content, more show matches, analyze more games, more tutorials, more everything for everybody. Once again, just to reiterate what you're saying, Morvox, please, if you could, just share, like, even just a quick comment on how we could do better. We really appreciate it. Once again, my name is Tebow.
And I'm Morvox. You guys have an excellent night.